What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's going
Welcome.
on?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Feeling lovely. Feeling lovely.
Doing good. Host having some internet problems. We're gonna work through it here on Feel the Burn podcast, presented by BurnCitySports.com, covering Phoenix sports at all levels for your pleasure. What we talking about first?
Wilson.
The Cardinals.
Oh yeah, it says I'm like disconnected again. Not a problem.
Cardinals interviewed Sean Payton today. I don't have the script.
Rowan,
I don't
this
know
is
where
your
to go with
moment.
this, people. This is my moment.
This is Rowan's moment. Check
it out. You get Sean Payton. Get him in there with the offensive group. I was trying not to say nothing too wild in the first minute. They gotta hire Sean Payton, bro. I mean, anybody else is a bust in my head.
Well, I know earlier they were thinking because Dan Quinn is electing to go back to Dallas, but he was top of on their coaching list. And honestly, I mean, outside of Denver, I don't see why anybody would want to try to get Sean Payton because of just he's super expensive, and two, there's just so much like,
Let me break it down like this, man.
Oh damn!
Sean Payton came to a New Orleans Saints organization that has only won one playoff game before he got here in 60 years. He turned that organization into a winning organization. About 70% of the seasons he was a coach there. They had a rough stretch after the Bounty Gate where they went 7-9, 3 years straight. But him and Drew Brees put together, honestly, one of the best quarterback coach duo performances. When Drew Brees retired, he had every record as a quarterback, and then Tom Brady took them all the next season. Sean Payton led the team to 1 or 2 plays away from 3 or 4 Super Bowls. You can argue that as much as you want. They had a bunch of blunders in the playoffs. But him with the young Kyler Murray, if that's the franchise quarterback that the Arizona Cardinals are planning on building around, you got to have a coach that can put him in the right things, put the offense in the right place it needs to be, get these receivers running routes that are quick timing routes. I mean, if you watch Drew Brees' career under Sean Payton, it was all slants, hooks, like 7 to 10 yard plays. You get talented guys that can make some yak yards after the catch, and you get the offense rolling. You put up 28, 35 points a game, get you at least a decent defense, and you go out there and you make the playoffs at least a couple years in a row and see what you can do. I'm guessing if you hire Sean Payton, it's a long-term hire, unless, he just comes out losing. But I'm guessing you get at least 8 to 12 seasons with him. And in those 8 to 12 seasons, if you can make the playoffs 5 to 8 times, I don't see how you cannot do it. Yeah, all these other names that I'm hearing, and I don't want to disrespect anybody by calling them out by name, but every other name on the list is not a proven winner. And you got a quarterback that is proven winner, bringing a coach that's a proven winner is the way I look at it. However, I am from New Orleans, so I watched the New Orleans Saints closely my whole life. Being with that, I did watch a lot of Cardinals too. I remember 2015, I think it was. I was out there in Chandler at a bar watching them against the Panthers in the playoffs get dominated with the Cardinals hat on, feeling like a fool. But I don't know, man. When it comes to Cardinals coaching, I think if it's not Sean Payton, they wasting time. They brought in a new GM last week who's supposed to bring a winning culture and bring in every man ego check out the door, every man check each other man to man. We have each other's back. So that's the way I look at it. I don't remember what else we were supposed to talk about the Cardinals to throw it to y'all on anything. I know
I
the
feel
most
like
of this.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of Rowan. I mean, a week changes a lot in the sports world. So a lot of the names that are out there, they're still out there. Most of Franklin's what he was saying. It's just they're starting to funnel out, and then after a minute, you just kind of got to step back and say, okay, well, whatever makes sense makes sense. You had, Dan Quinn interview, and then, as you said, Franklin ended up going ahead and saying, I'm going to stay where I'm at. Not saying that's going to be the case for every candidate. Still feel like there are, strong candidates out there besides Peyton, but it may be one of those things. If they did have a great meeting, if they did, click on a lot, and both sides do come to terms, like we were saying last week, Peyton does want. I mean, it's going to come with a little financial, risk as far as bringing him on, but maybe it's just something that makes sense. Like Ron said, they're trying to do something new. You got a new GM trying to build some type of chemistry and continuity, and maybe they get Peyton for the next 8. Like you said, be a long-standing coach and just start totally afresh with something new like that. So I'm kind of leaning towards Ron on this one, and maybe next week we may be saying, "Hey,
I think Peyton be the right guy, but 25 million a year, that's a lot for a coach who just won Super Bowl. I mean, do win, but I mean, he ain't got multiple rings on his fingers, so.
I think the pressure is going to be on him.
And if you give a coach, if you get sign him to a contract like that, then your GM basically there just pushing papers because Peyton will have full control of everything. So why even have a GM?
Yeah, it's definitely going to put some pressure on him. I think just because you get that contract, it's like, okay, cool, now go out here and do it.
I was reading around the internet today. It's talking about he leaning towards staying in TV.
Well, he's leaning towards staying in TV because there's not a lot of teams that are interested in wanting to give him that kind of contract, money, or power right now. And also, to the point of the Cardinals already getting their GM, that already told me in itself that they were never really serious. I mean, I will say that they definitely had very much high interest in Sean Payton, but I don't think they were ever serious in terms of him being the top candidate for them. Because I feel like if they were really high on getting Sean Payton, they would have hired him first and would have allowed him to pick and choose who he wanted him to come with. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. Honestly, I personally think Sean Payton, it's Denver or bust, and I don't think he's going to Denver. And if not, I think he's staying in TV. And I think for the Cardinals, they're probably going to look elsewhere in the market as well. I think they're just looking for any type of good line of communication between GM and head coach that can get on the same page with Austinford. So I can see, a guy like Shane Steichen, like I said last week with Philadelphia. I can see a guy like, D'Amico Ryans is a top candidate for Denver. So there's that. That could be out the window now. We shall see. But yeah, I think Sean Payton thing, it would be great. It'd be very hyped all around the valley, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Man, it's Friday. You just got paid. You go to the grocery store. Instead of spending the $180 on the groceries you want, you try to save a few dollars, and you spend $120 on some off-brand foods. And now for the next week, you eating the sandwich with the bread falling apart. You're trying to cook the noodles too thick to even cook down right.
Rowan is cooking right now.
Go ahead and spend some money, man, and get you something that's going to last, something that's going to be good for you. Something a little healthier for you.
Cooking, figuratively and literally. Rowan is cooking right now. Let him cook.
If the Cardinals go get their head coach at the dollar store, they're going to get a dollar store coach. And that's my opinion on it.
Fair point.
$20 million, I think, is worth it to bring a franchise that I don't think ever won a Super Bowl to at least get close.
I will say to Franklin and Lamar's credit, historically you can find gems in the names that aren't as flashy as a Sean Payton. So that reality is still very much so there. But to Rowan's point, like you said, it does sometimes end up on the end story is you got what you paid for. You wanted a $3 coach, you got a $3 coach. You wanted a $3 O-line, you got a $3 get what you pay for. So You can get
Especially
mad, throw
with
your cap all you want, but
the way sports is going, man, 20 million sounds like a lot because it's a heck of a lot of money. But $20 million ain't nothing in compared to these contracts that they throwing out these days.
I just think if they was gonna hire Sean Payton, they would have hired that GM first, and that GM from the Patriots. So more than likely, he hiring a Patriot guy as a head coach that had worked with the Patriots because that's what they do. They see
Keep
eye
it
to
in the
eye.
organization.
But who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting this next week or two. Like Franklin said, they're waiting on Eagles offensive coordinator. We might have to wait till after the Super Bowl for a hire. However, Cardinals, man, they're not playing this week. The Suns, however, are hot fire, 4 in a row winners. They went from 12th in the standings. I don't have the standings in front of me right now. Last I checked, they were 7th. I'm sure one of y'all have an updated number on that. Tonight, going against, I guess, our new arch rivals. I feel like the Dallas Mavericks and Phoenix Suns are brewing to be a rivalry over the next few years, at least as long as Booker and Luka are with their teams. Yeah, man.
Yes.
What y'all thinking on the Suns?
I am I don't want to use the
buying
wrong
stock
word,
back.
but I am buying at the moment. I'm buying at the moment. And I say that because they're doing it still without Devin Booker. They're doing it, with guys falling in and out of the lineup. You just got Cam Johnson back. I'm buying at the moment. Like I'm buying.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I think what's really fascinating is ever since Cam Johnson's back, this team's been undefeated. I think a lot of this has to do with Cam Johnson's spacing for the entire offense. And I think that's been something that's been badly missing with this team ever since Booker went down. I think Cam Johnson's ability to be a 3-and-D player for this team is really, really an underrated trait to have. He opens the space up for centers. He opens the space up for Mikal Bridges to be a playmaker. He opens this floor up for Chris Paul to be a facilitator. I think he's the key difference maker of why the Suns are doing what they're doing right now. And not to mention, Dario Saric is finally looking healthy, and he's been a key contributor off the bench as he just scored 10 plus points the last 2 games, actually, scoring 14 against the Grizzlies and then 19 against the Hornets this past night. So he's been a revelation. And with him and Jock Landale playing together, they've been a plus net rating of like 17, which is absurd. I think his passing, I think his passing, I think his defense have been just transcendent off the bench, which has helped get guys like Damian Lee more looks from the 3-point line, which has helped get guys like blanking on the name, Saban Lee be able to do a lot more pick and roll actions. And I think the Suns are starting to find their flow. And it's going to be, in my opinion, even more scary when Devin Booker comes back because he draws double teams like crazy. So it's just going to open the floor up even more for these guys. So maybe this whole time when we were panicking, really what it came down to was they just needed to get healthy because we're starting to see the little pieces of why everybody's so important and why everybody's like, why this offense and role kind of generates the way that it does. It's all about continuity. It was all about health for this team. So we shall see. The Mavericks, for whatever reason, have their number. So it might be a little tough sledding tonight, but they are really trending in the right direction. So will I say they're back? I will say that once Devin Booker comes back. I'll wait.
Nah, I think Cam Johnson takes a lot of pressure off of them other guys too, as well as spacing. Allows them to just play in their natural state, natural position. The spotlight's not too much on them. I definitely think they're headed in the right direction, man. Once they get Booker back and they get fully healthy, I'm sure they got to make a trade for Jae Crowder at some point before the trade deadline. And hopefully they can bring some depth in. But I definitely think they're poised to make a deep run to end the season and go into the playoffs on the right foot. The Phoenix Suns that we expected them to be at the beginning of the season when they were number 1 in the West.
Listen, Franklin is a DeAndre Ayton stan. I am a Cameron Johnson stan. There will be no slander on the Cameron Johnson name. The man had 16 points and 1 in the first quarter. he's a difference maker. I mean,
Oh
he is.
man,
He's just that. Maybe not
yeah,
the
16 in
flashiest
the first.
name once again. He doesn't you don't he's not the flashiest name, but you see him and you know him when he plays. Like he makes a legit difference on that court. Even for DeAndre Ayton, like Franklin was saying, like he makes his job easier. I mean, he does. He's doing no knock against Bridges because Bridges has started like trending upwards lately. But he's doing what we thought Bridges was gonna do this whole gap of this injury hit that happened. Like we thought Bridges was gonna give us the consistent 20-point games back to back, and Johnson came back and he just made that you felt his impact like right out the gate. So
I do have something to say in terms of Bridges because over the last five of the last 6 games, he scored over 20 points.
yeah,
But I think what's been a transcendent thing for him is his playmaking ability of taking the ball up the court and actually facilitating as if he was Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And I think him driving to the paint and kicking to the wide open guys in the perimeter has been really, really something that he's developed since they've been injured. So I think it's honestly been a blessing in disguise with all these injuries for the rotation players. Because remember, I remember like a couple months ago, we were talking about, shoot, is the Suns bench any good? And now that they've gotten all this playing time, they're battle tested to the point when all these starters come back, it's going to be really, really scary because they've proven that they can play long minutes and can win some games. And not to mention, I think Mikal Bridges having to be the guy to facilitate and do all the things that Devin Booker and Chris Paul usually do, it will only help his game improve more than just be a spot up corner 3-point shooter and just a defensive savant. I think now you see that he can dish and dime, he can slash even more. His mid-range shot is looking very automatic right now. So it's something that's like continuously little piece by piece by piece is starting to like just continue to grow. So I think it's good
how
for the
do you
Suns right
feel
now.
about this? How do y'all feel about this? I should say with the bench. I like the bench for what they've done like throughout this whole stretch. Like I like their fight. I like how they developed and improved. I like them, but I don't playoff like them. That's my only.
That's when
Not
it
like I
matters.
like you,
That's
but
the only thing that
yeah,
matters.
like I like you, but first round, game one, everybody's tired. It's like your minutes become like 10 times more. I don't know if I play off like certain people yet, which you won't know until April gets here if they're still on the roster. Depending on how stuff shake out, but.
Yeah, no, you have a valid point about that. That's definitely a wait and see approach. I know they have a couple people that have playoff experience, like Damian Lee and Josh Okogie and guys like that. But that's where the Jae Crowder trade kind of comes into play. Like you need to find a rotational piece that can really be that guy for you come playoff time, honestly. And it's why it sucks that it's kind of taken so long. I know we're probably going to talk about Jae Crowder here in a bit, but yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to in terms of making this season something that can be worth, fighting for down the stretch, is whatever happened with that Jae Crowder trade.
Yeah, experience is huge, man, especially at the NBA level. But to y'all's point, I've heard a couple NBA players themselves say they get to the playoffs and now their teammates have been hitting this corner three all season, can't hit the rim. Players that's doing this all season, they get in the playoffs and now you're playing in front of the world instead of just local television, and it gets to some people, man.
Like everybody say, they got a deep bench. Well, deep bench don't matter in the playoffs because you're playing 7 to 8 people only in 8 playoff
right.
games. You're not
I don't
going
like
10,
to
12
use
deep.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't
Not
like
to mention
use the 2K thing, but I think it's like a 2K rule where it's like if Booker's a 96, it's like when playoff time comes, you're almost like an 89. Like the difficulty level just bumps up like for everybody. So for the bench, it's like if you're a 75, now you're probably like a borderline 70. Like it gets that much tougher for you in that spotlight. So
Yep, and not to mention you're seeing the same team at least 4, if not 7 times in the span of 2 weeks. So they're going to know you really well, and they're going to make adjustments. and that's when it starts. That's when you start to realize, okay, who's got and who doesn't really, because once they take some stuff away from you, then it's
Names are
kind of
made in the playoffs, man. Names
yeah,
are made in the
different beast
playoffs.
for sure, man. It's a different beast.
Yeah, regular season, you don't really prepare for a team as much, but playoffs come to your point, and now the other team has a whole. They know they about to face you, and they know they got to beat you 4 times, so they gonna realize everybody's strength and try to force them to their weaknesses. If somebody's off the bench is killing them to the right, they gonna make an effort to force them to the left. Whereas in the regular season, it won't happen as much just because you got the game to game strategies going on.
Yeah.
What is Booker's update? I heard like a week he's gonna be reevaluated.
Yeah, that's literally the update. He'll be reevaluated in 1 week.
Yeah.
I've heard he's progressing really well. It's just they're just making sure that like he is as close to 100% as possible. They don't want to rush him back because I think in Christmas Day when he re-injured his groin, they kind of rushed him. Either they kind of rushed him back or he kind of rushed back. It was so
Yeah.
like they just want to make sure that he is fully healthy and ready to roll. And I think the Suns like the odds of what they got going right now, where they don't really have to rush him back, and so it's one of those situations where better safe than sorry because you want to be right towards the player. So, but I know he's like aching to get back. He's doing one-on-one work. He's shooting the ball around when media can see. So he's progressing well. They're just being safe with him, which makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
great.
gotta be safe with those groins.
Yeah, especially with your star player. Y'all touched on Cameron Johnson and y'all touched on Mikal Bridges tonight against the Mavericks. Mikal Bridges total points over is 17.5 and Cameron Johnson is 14.5. Who do y'all like best just in that scenario for tonight to step up? And like I said, Cameron Johnson over 14.5, Mikal Bridges over 17.5.
In a game against the Mavericks, it's easy to say Cam Johnson because of how he's played. But in a game against the Mavericks, I'm looking more to Mikal Bridges because of the playmaking aspect of it. I know Chris Paul's back, but they're really going to need Mikal Bridges to be that guy that's been averaging 21 points over the past 6 games to be here and to be that facilitator for all the other guys. I think Cam Johnson plays an important role from the standpoint of space, like we've been saying ad nauseum all night, like spacing the floor for all these other guys. But I think Mikal Bridges' importance in tonight's game is really, really huge in order for them to get a win tonight, and on defense. So
yeah, Johnson is he's a difference maker. But yeah, I agree with Franklin. You got to get something out of Bridges, especially in that backcourt. You got Doncic, who's kind of a multi-positional player, so he can end up, being on Bridges on multiple possessions. That's one of those things that he kind of has to take advantage of because love Doncic, not the best defender. I mean, just
And out of shape.
So, yeah, I mean, but he knows where his bread is buttered, so I'm not mad at him. I mean,
Luka
so,
is really that one player that all he needs is a beer before the game, and he'll drop like a 40-point triple double.
The fact that he dropped 60 and then they left him though that mountain of beers. I mean, come on, dude
He's
can do what
different,
he
bro.
wants and still go out
He's
here.
just so
Yeah, he can
different.
go. He can do what he
Playing
wants.
pro ball overseas for so long. He like this ain't nothing. Overseas they get to bang you, and this is like a walk in the park.
When he said that, I was like, "Oh man,
Most people try to get up in arms over that, over here, in the U.S., everybody, oh no, it's more. But when he said it this last time, it was just kind of he got a point, I guess. It is what it is. He's the proof. If you needed more proof, he's the proof.
I'm gonna say it like this.
Yeah,
I ain't watched an NBA game in a decade because they stopped playing defense, and you can't hand check, and you can't foul the life out of somebody just to send a message. They took the whole I don't know. They uneven the playing fields, if you ask me, in the NBA.
Yeah, no, the rules are completely different overseas than it is in the U.S., and that's one of the reasons.
That's why a lot of the older NBA players don't. I mean, they respect these players, but they don't take some of these players seriously because
they're very critical.
Scoring 50, 60 points, and the defense can't touch them.
But I would say the rules overseas are a lot similar to the rules back in the 90s and 80s
Yeah.
in terms of hand checking,
I guarantee you, if
all that stuff.
somebody literally like took Luka's shoulder off twice, he'll slow down a little bit. Take 2 fouls real
It's
quick in the
definitely
first
different.
quarter.
And the players, the stars of this league know that. I mean, they hunt, like, especially if they get the wrong person in the switch, they're like, you finna hunt for that foul, especially if you're having an off night and you're trying to find a way to get yourself going. Okay, let me do a little and get to the line. Like, I'm hunting
Yeah.
for that foul because I know I'm gonna get it. That's the game we play now. So yeah.
Yeah. Luka's total is at 35 over under. That's how much
I'll-
I think he about to
He'll get
cook
that,
us.
man. He'll get that.
Oh,
Why
If he
why
doesn't
wouldn't the
get
Phoenix
that,
bro.
why-
He is over average. Ah, that's tough. That's
why
tough.
wouldn't the
If he
Phoenix
doesn't
Suns
get
just
that,
blitz
he'll
him
make
as
it.
soon as he comes across half court?
I think, and I mean,
Same
I
why
think I've
teams
seen a
didn't
lot
do
of
the
teams.
same reason why teams didn't do blitz Jordan like that. Something I never understood in those one in the last seconds of the game. Why are you letting him go 1-on-1?
Yeah.
That
But the
never
thing
made
is
any
with
sense to
Luka,
me with when I was, especially when I was watching The Last Dance, the amount of one-on-one opportunities he got at the clutch moments. I'm like, what are we doing? Force it to somebody else. Like, what the
I
heck?
think it's because, like, even when Luka hits half court, and I've seen certain teams jump right on him and double him, he's kicking it to Dinwiddie or Bullock or one of these guys, which most of them are notable shooters. Like, they can knock it down in a heartbeat. They just really haven't been that lately. So he's not really phased by the double teams that much anymore. I think that's because when I watch him and they do double him, it really doesn't matter. Like, he's gonna get a shot off some way, or he's kicking it to somebody with the intent of getting it right back. It's
That's
not
true.
for to,
Yeah.
he's gonna get his shot. I mean, the dude usage rating is through the roof. I mean,
That's why I don't get. Why not take him out the game, keep him under 20 points, and let somebody like Tim Hardaway or Dinwiddie drop 40 for y'all to lose? I don't see how the Dallas Mavericks aren't 0-82, bro. Every
now the
season,
Mavericks,
just as a basketball fan and a
Well,
the
basketball
Mavericks
mind.
front office is
Their
the
3-point.
Mavericks front office is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a point blank shutdown. I don't care. That is a horrible front office. There is no reason in the world. I forgot what game they were playing, and Luka was literally holding his chest, like he kept putting his hand on his chest. And he did get off that night, but there's no reason in the world we have to ride you that hard to be. I think it was the Knicks when he had a 60-point game. Like,
Yeah.
we should not have to ride this dude, this generational talent, that hard to beat. Not knocking them because they have been good, but like if this is our guy and we're building around him, there should be other dudes where, at least like you're saying, Rowan, we can take the burden off of him. And y'all don't have that. If the Mavericks, besides the Suns making a move at the deadline, I would be very disappointed in the Mavs if they don't make a move at the deadline. Like, totally. Y'all have dead contracts sitting on y'all roster. You got Davis Bertans making $18 million, and
Who?
I can hit a three before him.
You can't even see the court.
He can't even see the court. Like, that's what I say. I know we talk about the Suns being critical on them, but the Mavs, that is a no. Whew, my God.
Man, listen, if I had a star player like Luka Doncic and I'm barely hovering above 500 by the trade deadline / All-Star break, bruh, that's a problem. And he's averaging 30.
Problem.
Like, come on, man. Like, come on.
They should have kept Brunson.
Because that boy acting a dang donkey out there in New York.
Yeah.
He's an all-star, bro. He's an all-star in New York, man.
He should be.
He should be.
And a lot of people said, "Oh, he may not have been the, we won't miss him that deep. He wasn't the difference maker." I don't know no more. I think he was the difference maker. Like, they banked too hard on Tim Hardaway coming back. He hasn't been there. Like, none of those dudes, ironically, that beat the brakes off the Suns in that Game 7 have been that since. I mean, not to that degree. It's not there. It's not there.
Yeah, they've been striking out on free agency for years, and I don't think they think Brunson was going to develop into what he is now, man. You got young players, man. They showing that they ascending. You got to try to keep them. Now, we can go get somebody else, and you got nobody. Like Chris said, they got Bertans and play 5 minutes a night.
To be fair to the Mavericks,
he can't guard nobody, so they just they put him on the court. They start fishing him out on them pick and rolls, and he got to get out the game.
Yeah, to be fair though to the Mavericks, I don't think the I think Jalen Brunson was going to go to New York anyway because he wanted to be there. And I think like that was like always something that he's always wanted to like do from the get go. But I agree with you. They gotta find something.
And if you look at their contracts, like if you go on Spotrac or anything and look at their contracts, they have very team friendly. Like they could strike a pretty reasonable deal to get another legitimate number 2 in there for him. I mean, Christian Wood is not a number 2. I love him. I love Christian Wood, but Jason Kidd does not know how to utilize him. It's just what it is.
Big trash.
They was banking on him. They was banking on him to be a 20-10 guy. And
yeah, they were banking on him too hard. They thought he was going to be a
9-4 guy.
Yeah, he's not a 2020 guy. Spencer Dinwiddie is not a 2010 guy. He's, he can do it. It's not. They need a legitimate number 2 in there to take that pressure off of him. So
my humble opinion, I've always felt like this might sound disrespectful. And I hope it doesn't come out that way. And I love Spencer Dinwiddie's talent. I personally have always felt like Spencer Dinwiddie's best trait would be for him to come off the bench, like him be a 6-man kind of player instead of being a.
I think he is. I
remember Dinwiddie was scoring all them points when KD and all them was out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
all
when he was in
Brooklyn, all-star and all that. Yeah, but it's different when you play on a team with other players and then you ain't. Somebody got to score when you don't.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with Christian Wood. That boy turned up with the Rockets for like 12 games.
Yeah, pre-ACL.
Right after
Dinwiddie was a beast, man. Like, I was excited the Mavs got him, but you need more. I mean, honestly, looking back, they probably should have revisited that Porzingis trade. I don't know exactly what they had out there for him, but I mean, you took back Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, and
I gotta go look up Bertans' career highlights, man. The way
he wasn't bad when he was
shoot
with the Wizards, though.
He's a 40% shooter, and that's what the Mavs were really trying to do. They're trying to just bolster up like a 3-point, think Houston Rockets with Mike D'Antoni. That's what they're trying to do with Luka Doncic by getting them all.
Or think of the older Dallas Mavericks with like Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Terry. I think they were trying to reinvent.
Even before that, when they had Michael with Don Nelson was a coach with Michael Finley, Nash, and they had everybody could shoot threes on that team.
I think they were trying to reinvent that, but the game isn't what it was even when Dirk was just here. Like, it changes every couple of years, so you couldn't. And Dirk is not Luka; those are 2 different players. So you can't cater to Luka like you cater to Dirk. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So,
Nah, I think they should take Luka. I mean, we talking about the Mavs, like we feel the Dallas, but
Dallas is crazy.
I think they should take Luka off the ball because then he wouldn't even have to deal with all that. I think he's tired as heck by the end of the game because he got to deal with full court pressure for 90 minutes, 90 feet.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, 45,
I think
60
my
minutes.
final prediction on it is I think the Suns will come out on this one. And the only reason I'm banking on that is because I feel like Franklin said, they've seen them so much, even this year alone. Monty Williams should have their number. The same way the Mavs have their number, Monty Williams should be able to have their number now. Like, so I'm going to put my faith in that, and I'm going to rest it on that.
Big dog DeAndre Ayton coming back too, man.
Yep. Definitely for sure needs to be I wouldn't say needs to be the guy tonight, but definitely needs to contribute in a mighty way tonight for sure to help out his team.
If he does 3 baby hooks, if he does 3 baby hooks.
Here we go again.
Mute your TV. Lamar and Rowan, mute your TV when he does his 3rd baby hook and get real quiet. And I promise you'll hear Franklin screaming all the way from where he's at right now. Just through the roof. That's my guy. He told me you weren't it, but I knew it.
Yeah.
I want him to do good, man. Seriously.
I'm telling you, bro, we need to take Crowder, Ayton, and go get Levine and that boy Vucevic.
Listen,
you want that Bulls trade so badly, man.
That's a good trade. I like that for the Suns.
You want that
Rowan
trade
had a
so
week to learn this man's name.
You gotta stop. Yeah, it's Nikola Vucevic, bro.
Yeah, Vucevic.
I like that for the Suns. They can pull that out.
Because if Rowan goes to the Suns facility for a thing like I'm sitting here live, this is wrong with how you say what's your name? Vucevic. Okay, Vucevic. All right, we're gonna run with this. All right, we're good.
Man, regardless how you say the man's name, he gonna come here and do what DeAndre Ayton's supposed to do, bro. That's all I'm saying. That boy is a beast. That boy is a beast in Orlando. He a beast in Chicago. Zach LaVine won out of Chicago. They want a clean house. I don't see why we ain't made the deal yet. Honestly.
Don't ask me about.
Do they
LaVine
want
because-
Ayton? Like, do you want to go from Vucevic to Ayton? Do you want to trade
That's a
LaVine
good
for
question.
Crowder?
That's a good question. That's a good question. If you're the Bulls, is what he's saying, Rowan.
Yeah, if you're the Bulls, do you want to make that trade?
I'm gonna put you like this, Franklin. I think 29 out of 30, whatever GMs in the league think like you think, and they think that DeAndre Ayton is a beast and he's one of the best upcoming centers in the league. Now that's wrong, but I'm telling you what the basketball world thinks. I mean, he's number one overall pick 5 years ago. I'm sure people think they can fix him. Especially with all we talked about the turmoil with Monty, that somebody could think just get him in a better situation, get him a nicer condo, get him out the desert, get him some better food in his life. Maybe he'll play a little better.
Maybe he's depressed.
Right.
Maybe he's depressed. Who knows? But don't ask me about Zach LaVine. Don't ask me about Zach LaVine because if you throw any trade out there for him, I'm probably gonna say yes.
How is Zach LaVine's knees? Is my question. And where do you even play him? Wait, how is Zach LaVine's knees? Where do you even play him? Because
I'll answer the second question. You put Chris Paul on the bench. Zach LaVine starts. Chris Paul come off the bench from the second unit.
Well, Chris Paul probably gonna be hurt again, and maybe Booker too.
But then you also have to factor in the contract.
So
Vucevic and LaVine contracts are so expensive.
Yeah, Franklin's saying on a realistic day, everybody's hurt. So on an unrealistic day, everybody's healthy.
What's Crowder's contract? Because Ayton got one of the biggest contracts. That ain't nothing but
10.2 million. And I only know that because I've been writing so many Crowder stuff. I keep saying 10.2 million.
So what are the Suns looking for Crowder?
They're looking for three things, which they're not going to get all three, but they're looking for three things. They're looking for a first round pick, which is crazy.
No,
they're looking for a
young good player.
They're looking for a young good player, and they're looking for a rotational player. You're not getting out all three, let alone two of the three.
Well, if they don't get is a rotational player, anybody gonna give up nobody want no first round pick for Crowder. Come on, this man. Wow.
No, all you're gonna get really is a rotational player. And that's fine. That's fine.
You're about to end up with a second round draft pick only.
That's fine too. If you get a second round pick and a rotational player, I'll take that in a heartbeat. Depending on who the rotational player is. But I'll take that in a heartbeit.
Man, they need to ask for new uniforms.
But I mean, they're treating Crowder. I mean, the way it sounds like from these reports, it's like they're treating Crowder like he's a star, like he's a star player. Like he's not that. He's not that guy.
I respect him for who he.
But he's a good quality player. Yeah, but he's not an all-star player.
No,
I say it respectfully.
I would give you a second rounder and Andrew Bogut right now. No negotiation.
Andrew Bogut.
And I thought Carlos Boozer.
You say Andrew Bogut?
And yeah, Andrew Bogut and Carlos Boozer.
Andrew Bogut.
And
Carlos Boozer.
Carlos Boozer. Yeah, let's go get Joakim Noah while we're at it too.
And a Carlos Jr. gift card.
And a Carlos Jr. gift card.
Nah, honestly, I don't know what they've been. I think they've been waiting so long because nobody like Crowder's a great off the bench D and 3 guy, but he's not a great 3 and D guy.
Yeah, he can go real cold for 3.
He's a really good passer that not a lot of people give him credit for. And he's really good at with like the screens that he sets. And I know that this sounds all ridiculous, but like he plays winning.
He
basketball.
Does the little things.
He's always on. Like he does those nitty-gritty things that's part of winning basketball, which is really good for.
Here's the little creek into the Crowder trade for me that I picked up on. So new owner, he's Matt Deshiva. He's not set to. He's gonna be officially named. He's not officially named yet, but he has given them the green light to make the big moves.
Yep.
The only thing that means to me is you all are still expecting a big move for Crowder, because if not, he probably would be gone by now, which means you're still looking to include him in said big move, which is
So if
why
they do
y'all
a big
holding
move,
off, because you can't
if they
really
do a
do
big
that
move,
until.
if they do a big
So
move, that got to mean Aiden got to be involved too.
yeah, because if not,
Yeah,
Crowder
ain't
probably would
gonna
have
be
been
no big
gone
move with
already,
just
or
Crowder unless it's like
yeah.
Yeah.
a 4 or 5 team deal or something like that.
But the fact that they want a good young player, a first round pick, and
Yeah.
or a good bench player, they want two of those three. To me, that screams that you're like disassociated from reality, because reality should
Yeah.
tell you you're not, like you said,
Let me
Franklin. You're not. You'd be grateful to get one of those things, and you can get two if you throw some other people in, maybe. But
And those other people have to be quality players, especially for a first round pick. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's if the best thing you can get, in my opinion, is a rotational player, and that's good for the Suns team, in my opinion, especially if they want
yeah.
to win right now in an open Western Conference. If you can like get a quality rotational player for Crowder, I'm taking that easily. But the way it
And I'm
sounds
not
like what
saying
they
he would have
want,
been.
yeah, the way it sounds like what they want, you would have to include like an Aiton, which I know all y'all would be happy about, but you know, like you'd have to include that. You'd have to probably include something else.
The day Aiden leaves the Phoenix Suns is the day they win a playoff series. Now I'm playing. What would y'all think about Grayson Allen? Because everybody's talking about the Bucks.
I can't stand Grayson Allen.
he one of them players. Chris
And
Allen,
that,
one of those players that you hate you hate him when he's on other team, but if you're on your
Yeah,
team, you down when one of those.
well,
yeah.
it's not even that. It's more along the lines of like I don't see the necessity for him personally. That's just me though.
I'm gonna be honest. Just what you just said something that I've been kind of thinking. Like this Suns team, they're not the talent of this team when you go deep, 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 but they are deep. Like I don't even see anybody coming to this team and getting minutes because
You have
Crowder's
to
been out
make a
this.
case. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because somebody's gonna have to sit. And I mean, people like Damian Lee.
Yeah,
Depends on what position you get. Like if you're gonna get like if you're trying to get a wing player or a forward, like a number like a 4, then you could possibly like yeah, no, you're right. Someone's minutes are gonna have to drop. You're right.
yeah.
It
But
don't
I
matter.
tell you, if they play like they were playing the other game where you got Dario Saric and Jock Landale just clipping from downtown like that, you got Lee, it makes the case hard unless, like you said, one of those, guys gets moved in the deal, long down the line. But yes, you got to make a case. You for starting over a Josh Okogie or a Torrey Craig or somebody like that. Yeah, you gotta make a case.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
We shall see.
Anything else on the Suns? I think they tip off. Y'all said they start at 8.
They start at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Oh, they
So
still got a whole.
like
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
another hour.
We
Is there
shall
anything
see.
else anybody want to touch on? If not, we can go ahead and end this episode of Feel the Burn podcast.
Nothing from me.
I'm good, man. I want to see what they're gonna do tonight.
Sounds good. I just told the man running it he can cut it off. In the minutes we got left, 3 Pac-12 teams right now in the bracket for March Madness. Arizona State being 2 of them. Both of those teams tip off at 9 p.m. Phoenix time. Both playing in Washington State and Washington.